Either way, I'm going to cover this. This is an opinion piece or whatever. I don't know what it is. It said it's an opinion. But let's cover this, and then I'm going to get the fuck out of here. All right, cool. People are microdosing psychedelics to improve well-being during the pandemic. Look at that. This is in the For You tab on Google News. They know what's going on. The pandemic has seen a shift towards recreational drug users taking tiny doses of psychedelics such as LSD and magic mushrooms to improve their well-being and mental health, a leading addiction expert has said. People were microdosing to self-medicate rather than following the trend popularized in Silicon Valley of consuming small amounts of psychedelics to enhance creativity. Prof. Adam Winstock, the founder and director of Global Drug Survey, said. There's a dog here, folks. The 2021 survey found that among these respondents who both microdosed and took psychiatric drugs, almost half reported reducing or stopping their prescribed medication. Winstock, a London-based consultant psychiatrist and addiction medicine specialist, said the findings suggested people have been experimenting with microdosing during the pandemic, perhaps due to increased waiting times for mental health services. That's something that I've experienced with my healthcare stuff, is that when the pandemic first started, like, I couldn't get an appointment to save my goddamn, right? And so, like, I'm not on any, like, anti-anxiety or anti-depression medication, but if I were, that would put me in a bad spot. And again, like, I am trans, right? So I have hormone medication. The idea of having to go 3 weeks without hormones because the doctor can't see me and sign the piece of paper or whatever, that's ridiculous, right? Like, people's health was destroyed throughout especially the start of the pandemic, like, because there was just not enough staff. And we live in a system where, like, you're not trusted with drugs, right? I mean, for me, again, like, I'm, trans and I have hormones, right? So I'm not on these anti-anxiety, but in a lot of ways, like, for my mood and stuff, the medication that I take is very important. So, like, having to go weeks without it because of the doctor, like, the medical system doesn't trust you to have, like, a 2-year-long supply, like, at all times. They, like, try to wean you out, like, like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you 3 months at a time, and then, like, and to get another script, you need to, like, do, like, this survey obstacle course, jump through the fucking flaming hoop, and then go through the little fucking tube like a dog, and then, like, crouch under the bullshit. You gotta do an obstacle course every time you need a prescription refilled. And that's another thing with anti-anxiety. Like, imagine a system where, yeah, we want to reduce your anxiety, so we're going to have you take a test every 2 to 3 months, and we're going to ask you a lot of personal questions, and we're going to make it so that if you don't do this test on time, that you can't get your pills, so that you worry about not having pills, and then when you call us, we're not going to answer the phone, and then when you call us, we're not going to set up an appointment, and then when you have an appointment, we're going to cancel your appointment last minute. Again, the medical system does not work well with the concept of anti-anxiety. Like, I'm just saying, if you've ever dealt with healthcare in the United States, and again, I'm not trying to suggest anyone do anything, but me personally, I would rather not have anti-anxiety medication if I had to go through all these fucking hoops. Like, if I had to, like, jump through the flaming hoop, if I had to, like, fucking jump out of a 3-story window onto a trampoline and then into the pickup truck bed, and then, like, do, like, 13 somersaults into, like, and answer, like, a fucking pop quiz. That's what you gotta do in the healthcare system in America, and that shit sucks. So people have been trying to take matters into their own hands. And so, myself included, I've done a lot of microdosing experiments over the last couple of, the last year. But anyway, the report also found people are experimenting with a wide variety of psychedelics. About a third of those who microdosed with LSD or magic mushrooms reported also trying other substances, including ecstasy, ketamine, a dissociative anesthetic, and ayahuasca, a strong hallucinogenic plant cocktail revered by indigenous faith healers. While a tripping dose of LSD is about 100 micrograms, ambitious tech workers from Silicon Valley have eulogized the effects of taking 10 to 20 micrograms every few days on their creativity and productivity, with people in the UK reporting doing so for similar reasons. I will also say, from personal experience, I'm not trying to say anyone do anything, I've come up with a lot of interesting show ideas Well, doing I like there's like I don't know, I don't like the term microdose in popular culture because like it really is like there's like a lot of variability here. Like I would say that there is like very similar value in doing a small dose versus a micro dose, you know? Like a small dose being like slightly more in the realm of you're going to feel things. A micro dose is more of like you don't feel anything, but it's like subconscious. A small dose, like a miniature dose, is like you do feel things, but it's also very subconscious at the same time, but it's like slightly conscious, you know? I think that there's distinctions and also everyone's body weight and their metabolism and what they've eaten in the last 24, like there's like I don't know, doses for me are really hard to measure out. Anyway, in the past people were using microdosing for performance enhancement and creativity. Now I think people are shifting towards using microdosing to enhance well-being and address mental health distress, and I think that's super cool. So we got a chart here. Psychedelic drugs drug use grew worldwide for several years but has declined during the pandemic. Again, another thing here that's a distinction is, you know, using drugs without their, like, necessarily intended purpose. Like, a lot of people historically have been seeing psychedelics as like, oh, shit, I'm going to take drugs and I'm going to trip out, right? Dosage is an important tool, right? It's like having one drink versus getting shit-faced and waking up in an alley somewhere, right? There are different things that happen when you do different doses. And with psychedelics, these things are it's night and day. I would say that a small dose or a microdose is an entirely like it's like might as well be a separate drug compared to a maximalist dose. And that's the thing that's really incredible to me about this stuff. And I'm glad more people are doing this or, you know, thinking about doing these things and maybe trending away from doing the bigger doses and more into experimenting with smaller doses. Because I think experimenting with your consciousness and yourself is something that's very interesting. I think that everyone should experiment with their consciousness in any way that they see fit and that they're comfortable with. And so I just wanted to talk about this. Of the 14,000 respondents who reported using cannabis, 42% said they less frequently shared a joint, vape, pipe, or bong with others during the pandemic. So that's an interesting tidbit. But there you go, folks. The pandemic has seen some interesting trends shift. We've also seen this in the real world with lots of cities decriminalizing psychedelics recently and all that stuff. I think the world is trending in a good direction on that. But anyway, that's going to be